What's going on, guys? JSGC here, back again for another Manchester City video, where today we're going to be doing my match review, match reaction and match analysis of Manchester City's 2-0 victory over Everton in the Premier League away from home. Our last ever visit to Goodison Park, which Manchester City match with a win. So before I do crack on with this video, make sure, like always, if you are enjoying the content, do subscribe to my channel. It is free to subscribe. Social media links there in the description if you want to go and follow me on my Twitter, Instagram and TikTok. Email also in the description too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business inquiries. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up on the video. Also, don't forget to let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And finally, I want to say a big thank you to today's video sponsor, which is brought to you by Kitbag. Remember, whilst we're rolling out over the Easter weekend, they're doing a very special deal that you guys can go and check out. The Manchester City away shirt, available for just £19. If you press the link in the description, you'll see it's available for £20. All you need to do is go to the checkout, apply the discount code HOP2IT, all one word, all in block capitals. That will give you an additional £1 off your order, taking the Manchester City away shirt, available for just £19. Links and details there in the description. What a fabulous deal. It is rolling out over the whole Easter weekend, so do go and check it out. Available in every size available. So I'm going to crack on with this video, and I think it's important to remember Everton in the Premier League, unbeaten in 11 of their last 12 games. We're heading to Goodison Park with Everton in good form. Drew their last game at Goodison Park 1-1 against Arsenal. Good team. And then beat Nottingham Forest, who are having a fantastic season, away from home last weekend by 1-0. And also fresh from a week's rest heading into this game. This was never going to be an easy game for Manchester City. So to come away with 3 points when we're chasing a Champions League spot, remember the top 5 in the Premier League are going to be Champions League spots confirmed for next season. This was very much a case that we're looking at these two games against Everton and against Aston Villa, where we want to be picking up 4 points. If we could pick up 6, that puts Man City in a really strong position heading into the final 4 games, where the fixture schedule on paper looks a little bit more straightforward for Manchester City. So Everton away, followed by Aston Villa at home within the space of 3 days isn't ideal, it isn't good, but we have to deal with it and navigate it. And this is a fantastic 3 points for Manchester City. I remember speaking about in my preview the importance of away games, Manchester City making themselves difficult to beat, but also you've got to be able to hold your own and in tricky games come away with points, come away with draws, come away with wins. And something City have kind of struggled so far with this season is having a negative result and trying to turn that into a positive result, turning losses into draws, draws into wins. And we're obviously heading into the final 10 minutes or so of this game. We had this game at 0-0. It's finally poised. Everton well within their game. They'll have been looking at last week's game against Nottingham Forest and taking tremendous confidence from the fact that they scored in the 94th minute to come away from the City ground with 3 points rather than 1, and showing their capabilities of being able to turn draws into wins. And Manchester City have showcased here in a really tricky game. Remember, last Big Six team to go to Goodison Park ever, and we've managed to turn up and make things count. Kept things tight, kept things close, and then when we've needed that clinical edge towards the end of the game, we've managed to apply that and grab a couple of goals and come away with a really solid win. And it were really nice because it can get quite nervy. You pick up a late goal and you're thinking to yourselves, right, it's going to be backs against the wall. There's going to be a kitchen sink thrown at us. Man City's forte definitely isn't deep defending. So to hold the game and move it forward and grab that all-important 2-goal cushion in the space of 8 minutes from them goals being scored in the 84th minute and the 92nd minute shows tremendous show of character from the Manchester City players. And I thought this was all round just a really solid away performance and a solid away result. We take the 3 points now, and Manchester City, we can sit back. You know, Chelsea are in 7th place under pressure away from home today against Fulham. We've got a better goal difference than them, so that's now a must-win game for Chelsea. They've got to win that game if they're wanting a top 5 finish. Nottingham Forest going away from home, difficult game against Tottenham Hotspur on Monday night, under pressure. Nottingham Forest don't win that game, then Manchester City remain 4th, and with Newcastle losing to Aston Villa, yes, Aston Villa are keeping things really tight and really close in that top 5 race, but also now drags Newcastle back into it, who were in really good form. We've now got 4 goal difference on them, and we're now just 1 point behind them. It means more than likely if Manchester City win out, I think the bare minimum that we'll be finishing will be third. I'm looking at the league table and thinking Arsenal are going to be severely distracted and doing a lot of rotation ahead of their games coming up in the Champions League semi-final against PSG. So I can see them dropping some more points. And I think if City can win out our remaining 5 games, and I wouldn't rule out City being able to do that, we certainly have the quality to be able to do that, then maybe we might even be able to finish second. And going off how bad of a season we've had, to come away and finish second would be unbelievable. We picked up, 1 win through the space of about 9 weeks from the beginning of November to the end of December. It's crazy that could happen. And Man City have been much better in the second half of the season. There's been a bit of inconsistencies. There's been the odd bad performance here and there. I think the team's allowed a bad performance, but as a whole collective, I think if we'd played how we'd played in the second half of the season through the first half of the season, I think we'd be comfortably sat looking at a Champions League spot. Not too sure we'd be looking at winning the Premier League, but we certainly look sharper and better. And what I saw from yesterday's game is Manchester City just starting to adapt themselves to what Pep Guardiola's wanting from them with this new formation. It's taken near enough 12 months for City to embed and settle themselves in particular when you're missing such key players, the likes of Nathan Ake and John Stones and Rodri, of course, then it becomes difficult. You're missing these important players in your team, but you've got to persevere with that. And I feel like looking at the team about why we've managed to cope so well defensively and in midfield with these absentees is the likes of Nico Gonzalez being brought in, which we brought him off. I'd have kept him on, but I'm delighted to see Mateo Kovacic come on and grab a goal for Manchester City. But I think Nico Gonzalez has really made a difference for Manchester City. But I think 2 things have really worked for City. Josko Gvardiol going as a centre-back rather than playing on the left-hand side has paid dividends. And I think Nico OReilly coming into the team over the last few weeks has really paid dividends for Manchester City because he's pretty solid defensively, but he's really good getting forward as well. And look how well he was in the 84th minute. He's playing as a centre forward and a striker. He's in the right place at the right time. He reads that ball so well. Brilliant football from Manchester City. A brilliant assist there from Mateus Nunes. And a really good follow through, good reading of the play from Nico OReilly to grab a well-deserved goal. And he's becoming influential for Manchester City. They need, and I report need, and I'm happy to see that Fabrizio Romano were reporting straight after the game yesterday that City are indeed working on a new contract, and he's teasing that new contract is going to come soon because they need him on a new contract. It was great to see with the injury that we had to Ederson, Stefan, Ortega come in and keep a clean sheet. Yes, Everton hit the post. Yes, they did have opportunities, but we've kept a clean sheet, and that's the facts that we're looking at. Mateus Nunes coming back into the team, grabbing an assist and looking good. İlkay Gündoğan setting up. An off-balance Mateo Kovacic, good finish in the 92nd minute. It was just all round pretty solid. I didn't think City found too many ways to get Omar Marmoush too involved in this game, but I did speak about in my preview about how physicality works so well against Everton. It's a game that to me would have suited Erling Haaland because you've got these crosses that were coming in that City were trying, but when you're crossing into the likes of Omar Marmoush and not 6'4" Erling Haaland, it's always going to be quite difficult. So I was quite surprised to see City trying them crosses in, but here we are. And I think the only other talking point I take away from this game is I'm not too sure what the team selection means for the future of James McAtee. Putting a really good performance last week against another informed team in Crystal Palace. How good's that? Beating an informed Crystal Palace and an informed Everton team. Back-to-back wins for Manchester City against informed teams. It's absolutely brilliant to see, and we've got another really informed team in Aston Villa on Tuesday night. We win that game, we're looking really good for Champions League football. But the last point I want to make, James McAtee putting a good performance against Palace, doesn't start in this game. He doesn't even come on, doesn't feature, he doesn't get any minutes, and I'm just starting to think to myself now that whilst things get said in the press conferences and you get all these reports coming in the background about meetings between Bayer Leverkusen and they want to sign James McAtee, I don't know. I've got the vibe here that I don't think James McAtee is going to be a Manchester City player come the end of the season. It will have an impact on the business that we need to do because we need to obviously look towards homegrown players. We need to go out and be promoting from within with the academy to replace James McAtee. We've got the futures of other homegrown players potentially leaving Manchester City, the likes of Kyle Walker, of course, but Calvin Phillips leaving. I don't know what's going to happen with Jack Grealish as well. So there's something that City do have to try and think about. If it was up to me, I'd be keeping all these high-quality young players. I'd love to see McAtee on a new contract, Nico OReilly onto a new contract, one or two of the other players who are impressing in the academy being given their opportunity to come to Manchester City, because I feel like that's where the future is. We've invested millions in the academy, and then millions are what's going to save Manchester City, millions, rather than going out there and trying to bring in players who are showing a bit of form and looking good. To me, that's where the investment's got to be, and I think City have got to do more to be keeping hold of Nico OReilly. They're doing everything they can to keep hold of him. I'm delighted to see it. I'd like to see more being done about James McAtee. I'd like to have seen him got some minutes here. I would have started him ahead of Bernardo Silva, and I'm probably going to go as far to say that if we don't see McAtee against Aston Villa, then yeah, here we are, and we saw a few of the other young players not even make the squad, and Pep Guardiola speaking about him liking small squads because he's got players who are working really hard in training who haven't got the experience, who aren't even making the matchday squad, and they're being paid a lot of money to sit at home because they can't even make the matchday squad. And City are now starting to get these players back from injury, so City need to try and find that balance, but that's something for City to think about in the summer rather than right now. The focus has to be the next 5 games. 5 wins in the Premier League will see us get Champions League football for next season. We've also got big game next weekend against Nottingham Forest at Wembley for the FA Cup semi-final, to see if we can get to the FA Cup final and get a domestic trophy and some major silverware to be able to show for the season as well. But mark my words, guys, 2-0 win away from Everton. I'll say that every single day of the week. Brilliant performance and a brilliant win with a brilliant result as well. We'll take it. Aston Villa, they're in form. Do we have anything to fear? Won't be easy. Very different to how Crystal Palace and Manchester United, who we played recently, and Everton play. A whole different kettle of fish when we take on Aston Villa. Won't be an easy game, but City are just starting to find their feet and find their form. They're looking rejuvenated, they're looking better, and it will take Aston Villa to play a really good game to be able to take a result from City at the Etihad Stadium. So I'm looking at that game and I'm thinking positive. I think we are capable of beating Aston Villa. I'd like us to beat Aston Villa. I'm thinking to myself, though, avoid defeat against Aston Villa. That's 4 points, 2 difficult teams out of the way with, and we've got 4 fixtures coming up that to me on paper look very winnable. It's all about taking things 1 game at a time, though, and attention turns to that very difficult game against Aston Villa. The 1 point behind us, they'll be having all eyes on us. They'll want to beat us because that then puts them things into their own hands when it comes to Champions League football qualification going into next season. Business end of the season, it's very much all there is to play for in the Premier League, because Liverpool are going to wrap up the Premier League title very soon, and Ipswich, Leicester and Southampton will be the 3 teams promoted who will be going back down. That's consecutive seasons of teams being promoted from the Championship heading back down again. So here we are. So there we go. They've been my thoughts. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up on the video. Do subscribe if you're new around here. It is free. Social media links, they're in the description if you want to go and follow me on my Twitter, Instagram and TikTok. Email also in the description too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business inquiries. And finally, do go and check out Kitbag. Links and details there in the description. Remember, you can go and check out the Manchester City shirt, the away shirt that is, available for just £19, available for the Easter weekend. So do go and check it out, and don't forget to use code HOP2IT, all one word in block capitals, on checkout, and that'll give you an additional £1 off, taking the price from £20 to £19. Great deal, so do go and check it out, and I'll see you all for the next one. So I've been JSGC. Thank you everyone for watching. Hope everyone is safe and well. Peace. Ciao for now.